Let's factor a polynomial function into linear factors. So we are going to take the given polynomial function, f of x equals x cubed minus 2x squared minus 13x minus 10. And we're going to do three things. First, we are going to list all possible rational zeros. Then we're going to use those possibles to find all rational zeros. And then finally, we are going to use those zeros to factor the function into linear factors. So part A, possible rational zeros. This is where we use the P over Q idea, where P are the factors of our constant. So the factors of negative 10. We have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 5, and plus or minus 10. All of those can go into a negative 10. Divided by Q, where Q is the coefficient of the leading term, or the leading coefficient, and that's a 1, so that's just plus or minus 1. So you'll notice, because we're dividing by a plus or minus 1, we're not going to have any ugly fractions here for possibilities. So we just have 8 possibilities, these numbers plus or minus, that are in the numerator. So that's part A. Part B, let's find the rational zeros. So we can use the remainder theorem to determine which one of these are going to work. Now, I always start with the easy ones. Well, I think they're the easiest. So I'm going to start with 1. So I'm going to take 1 and substitute in for x. So 1 cubed minus 2 times 1 squared minus 13 times 1 minus 10. Okay, so that gives me 1 minus 2 minus 13 minus 10. Well, that does not work. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1, minus 13, minus 10, what is that, a negative 24. Oof, that is not going to work. Okay, so it's not 1. All right, well, let's try negative 1. Okay, so if I try negative 1, I'm going to do negative 1 cubed minus 2 times negative 1 squared minus 13 times negative 1 minus 10. What does that give me? I have negative 1. If I have negative 1 squared, that's positive 1, so this is going to give me a minus 2, plus 13, minus 10. That's 0. That's what I want. So, now that I know that negative 1 is one of my zeros, I'm ready to do synthetic division. So if I take my coefficients, 1, negative 2, negative 13, and negative 10, and I'm going to use negative 1 for my value. So I bring that 1 down, and now on the outside I multiply. So negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. On the inside I add. So negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. On the outside I multiply, I add, I multiply, I add. So you'll notice we end up with a 0 at the end because we should, right? That's the whole purpose, is that if we know it works, we can go from there. If I started with a cubic function, as we did, after I do my synthetic division, right, we're dividing out by a value of negative 1 here, it's going to drop down by 1 degree. So I have 1x squared minus 3x minus 10. This allows me to factor x minus 5, x plus 2. So my zeros would be a 5, negative 2, and then, of course, from before, negative 1. So here's part B, my 3 rational zeros. And then last but not least, rewriting our function with linear factors. So if I have a factor of 5, a factor of negative 2, and a factor of 1. So there's rewriting my polynomial function as linear factors.